glad I've taken that route, and I'm happy to be in the industry that I am now.
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, we're helping people. And especially a lot of elderly people that we help. Now you've actually read the contract, or you've tried to use it and it doesn't work like the sales guy told you so, but now you're out of options. And you have this large mortgage you just financed. It's usually around 15 to 17% interest.
Wow.
So it doubles. So if you have a $20,000 loan and you're making minimum payments for 10 years, the average loan is usually 10 years with a timeshare. You're making minimum payments, which most timeshare owners are. That $20,000 is actually $40,000.
Looking for real stories of real people making a difference in the Grand Canyon State? Welcome to Finding Arizona podcast. We sit down with Arizona's inspiring entrepreneurs, creatives, and community leaders and give you a front row seat to their journeys, passions, and projects. Whether you're a local trying to find a hidden gem or just enjoy watching someone chase their dreams, Finding Arizona is your go-to place for authentic conversations with a desert twist. New episodes drop weekly, so hit subscribe and start exploring Arizona one story at a time.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose, and as always, we bring in fantastic guests every week, and today is no different. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to introduce Jeremy. Is not only the owner of Vacation Ownership Consultants, I want to make sure I say that right, as a leader in timeshare exit industry, who's passionate about empowering people to make confident financial and lifestyle decision. And he brings a wealth of experience and a refreshing client-first perspective to the world of vacation ownership. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate being here today.
Absolutely. I always typically ask this question of all the people who come in through our doors, no matter what position of life they are in, is give us a little bit of your origin story. I know something like this is, not, I guess, as unique, but there's definitely a breath of fresh air from my perspective. Mm-hmm. I don't see a lot of the name or even just like what you guys do. So It's like, give us a little bit of the origin story of what you were like as a kid, even up to starting the business.
Sure, yeah. It's funny you say that because a lot of people, when they ask me what I do, and I tell them I help people with timeshare contracts, no matter what their situation is, they're immediately taken back like, oh, I didn't even know that was, a business or whatever. But most people know what timeshare is, and a lot of people understand that there are some issues from here to here. So anyway, it's funny as far as how people always kind of bring that up. My background, from Columbus, Ohio, born and raised, Midwest kid. Grew up there, always been kind of an entrepreneur. So even right out of high school, started a little landscaping construction company, did that for many years. And then how I got into this business was a friend of mine was in the vacation rental business.
Okay.
And so what they were doing at the time is they were selling these different packages, giving people access to vacation real estate without having to own anything.
Okay.
So you spend a little money up front and you get access to all this inventory. We started doing that in Columbus, Ohio. Gosh, that was in 2007, I believe. And I got hooked to it. We started doing it right away. We had an opportunity to move out west, moved to Las Vegas first, ran an operation there for a while, and then ended up in California for a couple of years.
Okay.
And how we got into this specifically was people would come to check out our product, and they would love it. And they would say, wow, this is great. I love the product. However, I own a timeshare.
Okay.
If you could get me out of my timeshare, I'll buy your product. And that's really how it started. Nice. And all of a sudden, probably 20 to 30% of the people that were walking in the doors owned a timeshare.
Nice.
I didn't even realize it was a big thing. I knew what timeshare was, but that was about the extent of it. So to kind of sum it up, so many people were asking about it. And technically we were losing sales because we didn't have a solution to help people. So my business partner at the time and I started to do some research and started working with some different real estate brokers and different licensed attorneys in different areas that had some different methods in the background that they had been doing to help people. So fast forward to 2014, we're in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we started it full time. So him and I partnered up and just past 11 years. So we've been doing it ever since.
Nice. That's awesome. I mean, I love hearing this kind of journey that you've been through. It's just one of those things that I really find fascinating from the standpoint of like, just even your beginnings in the Midwest. It's incredible because there is a level of those who are from different areas here. It's a melting pot here. In Arizona.
Is. I agree.
And it's just really great to kind of hear who's originally from here and and how the journey of those who got here. And so I appreciate you giving me that. I imagine, was there anyone in your family, like mom, dad, friend, or uncle or something like that was business oriented at all?
So my dad has been in the insurance business his whole life.
Okay.
So he worked for a couple of companies. He also owned his own agency for many years.
Nice.
And so I probably got some of that from him, I think.
Yeah.
In high school, I loved school in the beginning, played all the sports, loved it. Played football, basketball, baseball, roller hockey, you name it. I did it all. Rolling into high school, I really lost interest in what I was learning at the time. And I think I always felt what I was learning was not going to pertain to what I was going to do in life.
Got it.
Probably should have still maybe studied a little more and paid attention a little more. However, kind of always had that actual mindset. So I always worked. I was bagging groceries when I was 6th, 7th grade at Kroger's. That was my first real job, minus a paper route. But I started with that, got right into some telemarketing all through high school. And then a good buddy of mine, a few years older, had a construction company. And I partnered with him right out of high school.
Okay.
So didn't go to college, went right into that, got my own place, bought my first house at 20, and have always pretty much worked for myself ever since then. That's kind of how it all started there.
That's incredible. Like, honestly, because I can't fathom myself trying to do that because I was the nerdy educator, like type that was like really into wanting to learn and soak up a lot of knowledge. So I went and did 6 years of school, university and stuff like that. So I just was, when I got out of college, it was weird to kind of have to manage all of that on, for myself in the sense of like, I wanted to be my own person and I wanted to work for myself. It just took me a lot longer route to get here where I am right now.
Sure.
And, but I learned a lot along the way. I mean, especially through this podcast, it's been a lot of helpful entrepreneurs like yourself that got given me a lot of guidance when it comes to, just little tidbits, little tips, little tricks here and there that really helped me progress along as an entrepreneur myself. So.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we all have different paths. Looking back on it, I wish I probably would have done maybe some more studying because now a lot of that stuff interests me. I'm interested in history. I was always really good at math. Math was kind of my one, that was kind of my one class I was good in. But now, like, I'm interested in history. I'm interested in these things. Awesome. Now, luckily for us, growing up, we didn't have Google. We didn't have all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now I have it all. So technically, if I want to go back and just educate myself, I can go back on the internet and do that. Again, we all have different paths, not necessarily right or wrong, but I kind of always had that gut feeling, knowing I didn't have a specific thing I wanted to do. So I wasn't going to go to college and try to go after something because I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just knew I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be in business. Any sort of business always interested me, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Numbers, that's just what I followed. So went that path and some areas were definitely rocky. There's a lot of roller coasters being an entrepreneur, whether it's this industry or the next one. Because at the end of the day, you're relying on yourself. And
Absolutely.
Sometimes things don't go the way you want them to. So anyway, but I'm glad I've taken that route and I'm happy to be in the industry that I am now.
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, we're helping people. And especially a lot of elderly people that we help. And so at the end of the day, it's rewarding. And without our service, a lot of them would be lost and they wouldn't have an option to be able to get out of something that they no longer want. So.
Yeah. So just to let's be a lot transparent here as kind of where I grew up and the time I grew up, that kind of timeshare thing. I'll be honest, one of the only instances we came across doing timeshare in my family was your mom and dad go to the meeting to get the prize at the end of the doing the whole spiel.
Sure.
My parents went to one of them, and and they took me with them. So it's like it was one of those situations where that's where the only time I've crossed paths with timeshare, like as a one-to-one sort of situation.
Gotcha.
So can you provide kind of what happens, or kind of demonstrate like that instance, or what that encounter is like today, or kind of a semblance of like what happens when someone wants or is interested in a timeshare, what kind of procedures go down, and then where you come into the play. Into
Sure.
the market.
Yeah. So for the most part, and obviously I don't know all the answers. Everyone's different, of course. For the most part, most people are not searching to buy a timeshare.
Yeah.
Okay. You're on vacation, you're at Disney, you're in Vegas, wherever you're at. Somebody usually comes up to you, whether it's at the hotel you're in or you're on the street walking around, and somebody comes up and says, hey, do you want 2 show tickets to the Blue Man show in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
And sure, I want that. Well, great. If you just go over to this location and you listen to a 90-minute presentation, when you're done with that presentation, we'll give you tickets. That's usually how it starts.
Yeah.
So whether it's buying you a free dinner, giving you a ticket to a show, giving you a free hotel night stay, whatever that is, it's usually some sort of incentive to go listen to a presentation.
Okay.
Most of the time, people don't really even know what they're walking into. So whether it's a couple or they're with their kids, so they bring their children with them, and they go and they sit down, and then usually that is how it starts.
Yeah.
And they go through what's called a tour, and they will tour them through the resorts or an off location and kind of explain what timeshare is and what they're offering. And I'll have to say that usually it sounds pretty good at the time. Okay,
Yeah.
You buy into this timeshare. You own 1/52 of this room at this location. A lot of times it is sold as real estate or an asset,
Yes.
or an investment. Which we know assets and investments appreciate in value. Typically not the case with timeshare, but that's how it's usually rolled out.
Okay.
And so, when people are making these decisions, they're making the decision while they're on vacation. Okay. It's typically a very quick decision because you're in a 90-minute presentation. So in 90 minutes, you went from walking down the street to being invited to a presentation for free tickets or free dinner. And in that 90 minutes, somebody is trying to sell you access to the resort, whether it's a deed or points, and we can go into some of that stuff later. And then at that point in time, you're making an emotional decision in 90 minutes, which usually that 90 minutes turns into 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Based on how much you can stand of being there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you're signing up for a $20, $30, $40, $100,000 timeshare. So you're making a big financial commitment with, number one, not even searching to buy a timeshare in the first place. And then being sold, again, in that amount of time to make a pretty large purchase. Most of us in this world do not make purchases that way. When we buy a car, we buy a house, we're going to spend that amount of money. We do research, we talk to our spouse, we talk to friends, we talk to parents. And, from there, you make an educated decision, right? Based on numbers, based on, research you've done that's not typically done in the timeshare area.
Got it.
So I'm definitely not sitting here saying that all timeshare is bad, because it's not. And there are plenty of people that you will probably speak to that say, I like my timeshare. I bought it 20 years ago. I go to Hilton Head every year. I stay in unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know my neighbors.
Yeah.
It's great. We love it. Right. So again, plenty of people like their timeshares. There's other instances where people don't like it. Or maybe they've outgrown it.
Yeah.
Maybe they bought it when they were 50 and now they're 75. They can't travel anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe their kids don't want to inherit it.
Yeah.
And so that's where they try to sometimes go out and step to find different solutions. So
that makes sense.
But for the most part, again, usually that is how a timeshare is sold to you. You're on vacation, it's either at that resort or you're walking around on the street and somebody, gives you some sort of incentive to go listen to a presentation.
Okay. That comes to now, you brought up there, it's like things change, or you just want to, do something else. And that's where you come in. And that's where essentially you are coming in as an advocate for the individual, right?
Correct. Yeah. So, and again, there are so many different examples, but let's just use this one, for example, that we kind of talking about.
Yeah.
Somebody bought it at 40 or 50 years old. You know, their kids are 5, 10 years old. They're traveling. They're taking their 1 or 2 vacations a year.
Yeah.
They end up buying the timeshare. It's working for them. Okay. Timeshares, again, are sold so many different ways. You have deeded weeks, which is a set week. So let's say you want to go to Hilton Head, week 45 every single year. That's your week. That's your unit. You own that week. You have the right to access that week every single year. Okay.
Awesome.
When people travel that way, it works very well because you have a dedicated week that you own and it's yours.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there's other timeshares that are sold on a points base. That means you don't actually have a specific week at a specific location. You buy points.
Yeah.
And based on the amount of points you buy, determine on where you can go. Right. So if I buy X amount of points, that might get me to Branson, Missouri.
Yeah.
But that's not going to get me to Maui. Or that might not get me to San Diego.
Yeah.
So the idea of buying points is to continue to sell you more points.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's kind of go back to the subject of somebody buys, they like it, they're using it for 20 years. Now they're retired. Now kids are out of the house. They're in college. They're starting their own lives, starting their own families.
Yeah.
Now you're 70 years old, 75 years old. Maybe you just don't travel anymore. Or maybe when you travel, you go to see your kids or your grandkids, and now you have no more use for it. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's just a basic example. Didn't even mean that you hated your timeshare.
Yeah.
You loved it for 20 years. You paid $20,000 up front. You've paid an average of about $1,200 to $1,500 per year. It's called an annual maintenance fee bill.
Okay.
And you pay that bill every year. It does typically increase every year as well. As long as you're using it every single year, it can typically make sense. So now they're at an age, it doesn't work for them anymore. They're continuing to pay bills. I always say before you call us or do any sort of research, call the resort. Just call the resort, right? And give them your membership number, your name. They're going to have your account and simply tell them, hey, I'm 70 years old. I haven't used this thing in years. I'm not traveling anymore. I'd love to deed it back. Do you have a program where I can give you the timeshare back? Okay. Majority of the times, and not always, there are some developers that have deed back programs or just programs in general where they're willing to take back that timeshare, relieve the client from the obligation, turn around and sell it to somebody else that's 30 or 40 years old that's starting to travel. That makes the most sense. So some developers will do that.
Okay.
So again, we always want to say, call your timeshare developer first, see if they'll help you out. Okay.
Got it.
Now, if you call, they usually will have you submit a form. They have to, talk to the higher ups, make a decision on what they're going to do. If they're willing to take it back, then great. You do not need our services for any reason.
Okay.
What happens a lot of times is these developers or these timeshare resorts will say, unfortunately, we don't have a program right now. Okay. Majority of timeshares are in perpetuity. So when you sign a contract, that is forever.
Got it.
And if you pass away, your kids will typically inherit this. Okay. Our generation, I'm 44 years old. I don't want a timeshare. Now, obviously, I'm in the business, so I know better not to buy one. However, if I want to take a vacation, there's 10,000 websites. I can go on the internet and type in where I want to go. And there's Airbnb and VRBO and Booking.com and direct websites. So many different ways to travel, right?
Yeah.
So our generation does not typically want them. So again, kind of backing up, let's say the parents ask the children, would you like to take it over?
Yeah.
No, I don't want it, mom and dad. Okay. Go back to the developer, see if they'll work with you. If they have an option, great. If they don't, and they say, sorry, we cannot help you. If you don't want your timeshare, give it to a family member or sell it. That's usually what the solution is from a timeshare developer. Okay. So I guess I'll kind of lead right into that. Let's say the developer says, go and sell your timeshare. Okay. Again, I kind of stated most people are not searching to buy a timeshare. Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So there are what's called listing companies.
Okay.
Not even called resale companies. They're called listing companies.
Got it.
And a lot of times these developers will refer you to a listing company. Hey, call this person. He's a licensed real estate agent. Okay. And they will call that company. Hey, I own a timeshare. This is where it's located. They'll say, great. For $1,500 up front, we will list it on a website and we'll try to sell it for you. Okay. There's no guarantee that that's going to sell. because you can't guarantee you're going to sell something for somebody. So now you've paid a fee up front. It's now posted on a website next to 20,000 other timeshares that want to be sold.
Yeah.
You have to continue to pay your maintenance fee bill. So you have to keep it up to date. They usually tell you do not use it, because how can we sell it if your week is already used?
Yeah.
So now you have it listed. You're sitting there trying to sell it. They usually do not sell.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to say a timeshare has never been resold on the internet, because clearly it has. However, if you have 100 of the same properties trying to be sold, you can go on a lot of websites, and you can purchase these things for a penny.
Wow.
Because they just want out of the obligation.
Yeah.
So saying, hey, pay a penny and just take over the maintenance fee bills, transfer title. I don't want it anymore. So usually people will go down that kind of rabbit hole first and try to sell. Okay. Which again, in theory, sounds correct. Bought a timeshare, you use it for many years, you don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
They told you it was an investment. Investments appreciate in value. You're thinking, great, I can turn around and sell this thing, make some money back.
Yeah.
Usually people will list for a year or two, no bites, no offers. And it's like, okay, well, I can't just sit here and keep paying a maintenance fee bill every year. I'm not using the timeshare because I can't use my week if I'm trying to sell it.
Yeah.
And that's when usually they will start to do that research now and say, okay, I've tried the developer. The developer gave me the solution of trying to sell it. I've tried to sell it. Nobody wants it. None of my family members want it. Okay. I've talked to them about it. Nobody wants it. So what do I do now? Okay. Again, now you're 70 years old.
Yeah.
So first of all, at 70 years old, should you even be trying to sell a timeshare in the first place, right?
Exactly.
It's like, come on now, that you should be retired, enjoying your grandkids.
It shouldn't be a headache.
Yeah, you should be taking a long walk at the park, not trying to figure out how to get rid of this timeshare that you no longer want.
Yeah.
And so that's usually what happens first. And not always, but that's what a lot of people will do first, which in theory, it makes sense, right? You called the timeshare. Again, you were happy with it. They gave you advice to try to sell it. You know, you weren't able to accomplish that. You might even try to call the timeshare again and talk to a different person. Hey, try to sell it, didn't work. What are my options?
Yeah.
Sorry, nothing we can do.
Okay.
So now you're 70 years old. You're stuck with the timeshare. You're paying annual fees. It's deeded. It's in perpetuity. Your children don't want it. So what do you do?
Yeah.
It's about the only thing in life that you get stuck with, right? If you don't want a car, you sell it.
Yeah.
You don't want your house, you sell it. Timeshare, it's a whole different animal. So it's kind of a long, drawn-out answer for you, but
No, I loved
that's
it
kind of how the cycle starts right there.
Yeah, that's important because, again, I just know it from the standpoint of where I was starting from was like my parents were like, no, we're not doing this because we don't need it. And on top of that, we were just here for the prize. And so I was like, okay, great, fine. Because I was just a child and I was like, why are you trying to understand and wrap my head around what was going on? And I was like, oh, interesting. And so that's the only time I've ever encountered it. And it was just really how you say it. It's just like, yeah, I can imagine that cycle of like, you know, going through that experience and how much it would hurt to be the 7-year-old that had the zero options.
Sure. Yeah.
That corner position.
Yeah, it's usually kind of an awkward situation. Kind of like you said, like you went, your parents said no 20 times. They bring another closer in, you say no again.
Yeah.
They try to drop the price. They started at 20, now they're at $3,000 to enter. And it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And so, you know, some people have a hard time saying no. You know, they do. Sometimes they feel, hey, we came in here for this free gift. That's always the idea. Hey, let's get the freebie. Don't say yes.
Yeah.
We'll get our bag of Doritos and we'll get out of here, right? Some people can't say no. Some of these sales guys are really good. And so they end up saying yes.
Yeah.
Then you're on vacation. So you're not really reading the contract. So again, 90-minute presentation. They usually give you around a 55 to 80 page contract. Okay. So an average person, me or you, trying to read an 80-page contract after sitting there for 2 or 3 hours, maybe you have kids, maybe you're hungry, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to read this agreement. They don't read it to you very well. They kind of skim through it, sign here, this means this means that. Again, rightfully so. But now you've gone back to your hotel room, you go out to eat, you enjoy the rest of your vacation. Maybe you don't really look at this thing till you get home.
Yeah.
Then you go and start looking at it. Maybe you start doing some research online. You see some things, and now you're past that 3-day right of rescission or 5 days based on what state you're in.
Yeah.
Some people do try to get out of them right away by canceling. You should call the resort. If you've passed that rescission period, they usually tell you, sorry, you've already passed rescission period, nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So again, it kind of goes back to the sales cycle of things. You've made a quick decision. Now you've actually read the contract, or you've tried to use it and it doesn't work like the sales guy told you so. But now you're out of options. And you have this large mortgage you just financed. It's usually around 15 to 17% interest.
Wow.
So it doubles. So if you have a $20,000 loan and you're making minimum payments for 10 years, the average loan is usually 10 years with a timeshare. If you're making minimum payments, which most timeshare owners are, that $20,000 is actually $40,000.
Yeah.
And you have not even included the annual maintenance fee bill, called average of $1,200 per year. That increases around 5 to 10%. So you made a purchase, you got $50,000 to $60,000 worth of debt sitting in front of you. So then you have to start doing some numbers. How many vacations do I have to take for $50,000? Okay. Now, I just went to San Diego a couple months ago with my family. I hopped on Airbnb. We booked a week for, $2,400. I'm oceanfront. I'm in a 3-bedroom Airbnb. The place is stacked with everything I need. There's surfboards, there's bikes, there's everything I need. Okay, $2,400, so I got to take 25 to 30 vacations to break even and get my money back. And so that's a lot of vacations when the average person is taking 1 to 2 at best. So when you really look at the numbers of what are you purchasing, how often are you using it, most people would say that's probably not an investment. And especially if you paid, say, $20,000 for it, and then you give it away, or you pay to get out of it, or you sell it for a penny at the end of the day. Now, if you owned it for 20, 30 years and you used it 2 weeks a year, every year for 20 or 30 years, you probably broke even. Okay. So not terrible, right? Some people, to break even, to be able to enjoy yourself and take vacations, not a bad situation, right? Most people don't do that, though.
Exactly.
What if you have to skip a year, or kids are doing something with school, or you have sports, or work's not going well, health issue, whatever it is, you skip a couple years, you keep going behind to try to make up for that. So most people never kind of break even or square away based on the purchase that they make.
That's just like how you put those numbers into perspective. I'm just like, that's really like exuberant from some vacation standpoint, especially. So I want to, again, go back to your personal journey and just how you got this business started, and go through kind of your own situation of like looking at what happens in this scenario and, where you were at the time to make you say yes to something like this. I mean, what significance does it mean to get up and do this every day?
Sure. Yeah, no. I think what triggered was we were here in Scottsdale, okay? And we were doing these vacation rental packages. And people were loving them, absolutely loving them. But what would happen, like I said earlier, about 30% of people that walked into the door, they were already a timeshare owner. And every timeshare owner you were speaking to was unhappy with their timeshare.
Got it.
Or maybe not necessarily unhappy, but if they had an opportunity to get out of it, they would do it. And so I think it was seeing that day after day. We were working Tuesday through Saturdays doing presentations, and we were seeing it just every day. I think what triggered me specifically was seeing the retirees coming in, okay? Because again, this is an event for them. They would come in, again, and so it's somewhat of an event for them. So watching them express maybe some of their just negative experiences of what they were having with the timeshare and how it was not working. A lot of it was nightmare stories that I was hearing. Then I started to envision, this is how old my grandmother is. What if my grandmother was stuck in this situation? I started to look at this. Now, again, I don't want to always sit here and say that, the only people that need help are people that are retired or on a fixed income, because that's definitely not the case. However, timeshare started in, the 80s and 90s. Those are the boomers who bought them. Now they're at the age of, 78 years old, where they're starting to be like, okay, we don't need these as much. But I think what really triggered it was seeing the people one after another with the same story, the same situation over and over and over again. And it's like, okay, not only is this a business opportunity, right? But at the same time, like, these people need help. And so again, from an entrepreneur standpoint of thinking of something, when you're thinking that way is, okay, I need to build a solution. So if I have a solution, there's approximately 10 million timeshare owners in the United States at any given time. And I'm thinking, okay, if I have a solution that I can figure out a way to get these people relieved from the obligation. And again, I'm kind of playing a sales rep at the time. Also, how can I sell my packages? Mind you, my packages are like $2,000 is all they were spending. And they were getting access to all these discounted hotels and different real estate.
For sure.
There's no ownership. There's no deed. If you don't like it anymore, you don't pay for it. You pay $2,000, you use it twice, you broke even. So it was a very different concept, which is why the timeshare owners understood it so well. And that's why they wanted into it, because they were like, wow, this is similar to what we're doing, at the same time, completely opposite. So I think being here in Scottsdale, again, a lot of snowbirds here, which was a lot of retirees, which was our clientele that were coming in here. And that's what triggered it. And so I simply just started doing research. I just started going online, started, making calls, using my contacts in this industry because I had traveled throughout the country for a while. I skipped some stuff earlier. I spent a lot of time in Idaho, Montana, Iowa, Salt Lake City. We traveled all over the place. And I was getting the same response from everybody that was walking in the door. And so at that point, it's like, okay, it wasn't one or two people. Plenty of people need this. So I started doing research. I found a real estate broker that was doing resales at the time. And again, this is, fast forward, I understand resale now. I didn't understand at the time. And so he was doing resales, but he was not charging people up front.
Got it.
So he would say, hey, I'll go and I'll post it on the internet. Now, again, mind you, this is 2014. This is, 11, 12 years ago. I'll post it on the internet. I'll use my contacts. There's resales companies all over the place in Hawaii, on the Las Vegas Strip, Orlando. So he was very into that world. And so I started working with him. So people would sign up with us. I would not charge them a fee to help them out of their timeshare, would give it to this individual, licensed real estate company, and they would eventually sell them. And when they sell them, they would keep a small profit. I would charge a few $100s. The client would get the rest. The client didn't even care about the money. They just wanted out of it. But I didn't know any difference but to going this route. So again, it's funny because I'm sitting here not bashing, but saying that resale companies are very tough to go through. And listing companies are very tough. I do still stand by that word because I think it's very difficult. I was only doing one or two here and there. As that started to develop, we realized it wasn't working as well as we wanted to. It'll work for a handful a year to get rid of them, but that was about it. So then I did a little more of a deep dive and I found a law firm. And I found a law firm that had been doing this for decades. And they were specifically representing, someone that was going through something rough. So I'll say elderly abuse, someone that's 75 years old that has a $200,000 loan with a timeshare developer at 17% interest rate, living on a fixed income. And when I started to do the deep dive with the law firm and understand what they were doing and how they were doing it, I went and met with them. I flew out to where they were located, my business partner and I. We spent 2 days there. We visited their office. We started to really understand what they were doing, how they were doing it, what the demand was. And that's what really triggered it to say, okay, we need to go full time on this. Now we have an attorney that is representing these customers on an individual basis. They are working with the developers, trying to work out releases, trying to figure things out. And so once I really kind of dialed that in and once I figured that out completely, and it did take some time, we went full throttle on it. My business partner and I, we went full go. Again, 2014, there's definitely plenty of content and internet marketing going on. We weren't really doing that yet. We were going to fairs and festivals and home and garden shows and things of that nature and setting up a little 10 by 10 booth, put up a big sign, if you own a timeshare, you need some assistance, come talk to us type deal. And that's how we started to advertise. And
very grassroots.
Yes, it was. We would travel from show to show. Again, we're in Southern California, here in Phoenix, Arizona, a lot of events going on. There's fairs and festivals and home shows and art shows and wedding shows and things going on all the time.
Yeah.
So we just started signing up for them and going. And the immediate reaction we were getting was mind-blowing. I mean, people were just coming up, eating popcorn, talking and communicating.
Yeah.
I've had the same, they're all telling your story. And to come to find out, everyone's telling almost the same exact story.
Yeah.
So for the most part, hey, I bought it, I went to this thing, and again, it was the same thing over and over and over again. And so people would, fill out a form. We would call them the following week, schedule a free consultation. At that time, it was all face-to-face.
Yeah.
And this is pre-COVID. This is doing Zoom calls and stuff like that.
I was going to ask you about that. It's like you've been in this market now and you've seen kind of what happens when the effect of the financial market is kind of hard on those, especially in 2008 with the recession of the housing market. And then again, during COVID and kind of subsequently after the ripple effect of COVID. So I would love to get that really quickly.
Sure, yeah.
I know you were going at it, but I was like, it dawned on me. I was like, yeah, these individuals are affected financially when you kind of see it now every day with like how much the market jumps based on certain events. But these two very pivotal points that are still talked about today. I would love to get your perspective on those kind of pivotal moments and what you saw and what happened for your business.
Sure. Yeah. No. Listen. Great question, and I'll roll right into it. So again, we're 2014, 2015, we're seeing the people are coming to our office, having individual, just one-on-one consultations.
Yeah.
Everyone's situation is so different.
Yeah.
Some people have paid off timeshares. Some people have large mortgages. Some people have 5 or 6 timeshares.
Oh, wow.
Some people are retired. Some people just lost their job. There's a lot of different reasons of why somebody may want out. So that was all kind of face-to-face.
Okay.
And then, yes, fast forward, for about 5 years, that is how majority of our kind of marketing was face-to-face, home shows. Then we really started working with financial advisors, divorce attorneys, things of that nature. So we started to work with a lot of those different companies.
Got it.
So people going through divorce, you're splitting up assets. No one ever wanted the timeshare. Those advisors or divorce attorneys would refer them to us.
Got it.
We would work with them and have our attorney work with the developers and try to work out some sort of solution at the end of the day. They're going through enough junk, going through a nasty divorce, trying to figure out cars and homes and kids. It was one thing we could get off their plates. So then we started working with a lot of financial advisors, which we still do to this day.
Great.
Ton of financial advisors, law firms. I say divorce attorneys, that's a lot of them, but even just other attorneys that don't specialize in the field.
Imagine that they get something like that across their books, and you just like, oh, well, I need a resource. Here's that
and
resource.
they'll just send them over to us.
Yeah.
And so that was how the marketing worked. At this point, we have a retail store. We're in Old Town Scottsdale.
Perfect.
Huge store. A lot of people, we had walk-in traffic because people were walking around Old Town, snowbirds here, people would walk in.
Yeah.
And then we started doing a lot of our consultations there at the office. This is where a lot of the phone consultations started. So this is 2019, right before COVID.
Yeah.
So we're in the office. We have a crew that are, going out to the home shows. They send us the lead slips. We are scheduling the appointments. Then we start doing phone consultations with a lot of people. Because we would be in Southern California doing a show, then we'd come back to Arizona. We would do it over the phone.
Yeah.
Fast forward, COVID hits. I think we had about 35 to 40 events scheduled for 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to prepay for them, prepay for flights, car rentals, hotels, deposits for shows, tables, extension cords, you name it, right? So you have all that money invested into that. COVID hits. That was a big change in everything when COVID hit. I'll try not to go down too much of a rabbit hole because so much changed during that time. So obviously once COVID hit, we weren't going to the office.
Yeah.
We were relying on the remaining leads that we had in place. We never solicited. So we do not buy list and cold call people and things of that nature. It was always opt-in people that came to us. They saw a sign, they saw an advertisement, they call us.
Yeah.
So once COVID hit, that put a big delay in everything because, again, 90% of our marketing was face-to-face home shows.
Yeah.
So we immediately had to pivot, and we started having to go onto YouTube and Google and Facebook and trying to generate business that way.
Yeah.
And more so just putting out advertising and marketing, things of that nature. And so
the bare minimum that you were doing with the face-to-face, you have to now supplement some other way.
Correct. And so now every business had to do that, right? Restaurants, everyone had to make the pivot, right? So we all struggled with doing that. So that was a big challenge at first. And then we started to figure out, luckily here in Phoenix, Arizona, being an individual business owner, after 30 days or so, we were allowed to go to the office.
Yes.
We went to the office. We continued, to work and operate. Now, we weren't having people walking in the doors, but we were able to collaborate with our staff, collaborate with our attorneys, work with our partners, and start to figure out different ways. And so that's really where the online marketing came in place.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of pivot our, marketing budget. Everything went online.
Yeah.
To this day, we never really got back to kind of the home show fair festival.
I was going to say, it's like, is it now 50-50? What does it look like, the split as far as?
So, I have to say, I really miss it. I used to work a lot of those shows. Most of them are on the weekends. You
get that
Friday, Saturday,
energy
Sunday.
out.
I loved it. You work all day. You're visiting with other vendors. You're talking with people. Great food. There's great things going on. We met so many people doing that, and not just for the timeshare cancellation business, but for other stuff we were doing, just meeting people in general.
Yeah.
So the same people, 5, 6, 7 times a year. So I definitely miss that. It took so long for things to get back to normal. We tried a handful of shows. I think 2021, I'm trying to remember, that was 5 years ago that COVID hit. We tried to do the shows a little bit, but it was like 70% of the people weren't showing up anymore.
Yeah.
So the capacity didn't make sense. So a typical home show that saw 40 or 50,000 people now saw 10 or 15.
Got it.
Well, to own a timeshare of 10 or 15,000 people is a small percentage. So then it didn't start to make sense.
Yeah.
We really shut down all the shows. We lost a lot of money because those vendors don't just give you your money back when you book a show. They either just reschedule you for the next one.
Yeah.
A lot of these shows were in Florida. They were, different states. And so at that point in time, to justify spending money on, again, had to reschedule flights and hotels and car rentals. Plus the staff didn't want to do that anymore. The staff started to see, I can just take appointments over the phone. Yeah. I can work from my bedroom. I can work from my home office. Yeah. That was very attractive to people. Yeah. So we tried a few shows right after COVID.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they bombed, but it didn't really make sense anymore for the amount of money we were spending, for the handful of people we were speaking to. Those same people were now going online.
Yeah.
And they were simply searching, how do I get out of a timeshare, right? Or I don't like my timeshare, what do I do? So that's where we kind of pivoted everything over to the online.
Can I ask you, what was probably the most unique, I guess, advertising marketing that you did go into? I mean, I can only imagine like some of your employers or something like that, came up with something creative along the way.
Yep. At the time, I had a very creative business partner. Okay. So my business partner at the time, very good friends. Yeah. We started hanging out when we were about 20 years old. And he is the person that was in the vacation business first that got me into it. Yeah. Very, very creative individual. And he made some of the coolest marketing videos on the beach. Very goofy, very silly, but he made them fun.
Yeah.
Our business is so serious, okay? A lot of our clients call us, they're in tears. They're upset. Yeah. Their spouse has passed away. The kids live out of state. They've tried to work with the developer. The developer won't help them. I mean, they call us just in tears. Yeah. And so to try to lighten up the business was fun. So to have him create some goofy marketing videos and things of that nature, I think brought some light to the business and brought some light to the staff, because COVID was a very depressing time for a lot of people, right? Yes. A lot of people struggled during that time. Thankfully for us, again, living in the state we were in, not working for a major corporation, not being forced to do certain things, and being able to operate on our own time and still being able to collaborate with our staff, Very thankful for that. And I think that's what kept us really going at the end of the day. It's hard to keep motivated when you're working from home all day.
Yes.
Some people can do it and some people can't. And so we had that ability to kind of do that together. So I think doing some of those fun marketing pieces, going on the beach, doing some of the fun, just goofy stuff.
Yeah.
It brought it where it's still a serious matter, right? Getting somebody out of something is still, it's a big deal. But if we could shed some light on it, that was helpful. Yeah. So I'm thankful for the business partner. He's no longer a partner of ours. I actually bought him out right before COVID happened, not knowing COVID was going to take place. He still worked with us. He still did a lot of marketing. We're still really good friends to this day. Good. He just had another business venture he wanted to go to.
Get it?
And so we kind of worked something out together. And so that really helped. Really thankful that he still kind of stayed on and helped us because that was really his expertise.
Yeah.
I kind of did a lot of the management of the business operations side, and he was a lot of the face and the marketing side, which is how we work so well together. So
that's perfect. I love that story because again, I go back to like those times and I'm like, yeah, there was a lot of turmoil, but also at the same time, I felt like creatively there was a lot of people coming up with some fun stuff, or at least trying to like stay afloat in a very fun and creative way, because I think that's what stands out the most is having something that really flips the ideas on their head and really sets you apart from the rest of the group.
Yeah, it does. Yep, definitely.
And so I now like to go into more today and what you guys are doing, or anything that you're looking for, excited for the future. I mean, one of the things that I can imagine affects your business is AI, just because there's essentially more opportunity for either seeking out different ways to market, or whether it's simplifying some certain tracks for you as the business owner, or even other things for the employees to be able to utilize AI for. So I would like for you to kind of give us some insight into that world as far as excitement for the future, things, goals, and for the company at large.
Yes, definitely have to stay innovative and on your toes for this. AI, again, there's constant hurdles. And again, any business you do, there's just hurdles, right? We've had a lot in the decade plus we've been doing with just the way things have gone. But AI has changed a lot. AI is great for a lot of things. And it's also, I don't want to say hurt us in a way, but I'll try to give you an example here.
Yeah.
When you go on Google, you go on AI, a lot of people just say, how do I get out of a timeshare, right? How do I cancel my timeshare? Yeah. Maybe they'll put the name of their specific developer. How do I cancel X timeshare, okay? And you go to AI, well, AI is scraping from all these different sites, all this different content. They don't know if it's true, if it's not. So they're scraping all of this stuff and then giving you kind of just really boilerplate answers. Yeah. Again, not saying it's wrong, but having to keep up with that. AI is changing constantly. So they are, again, when we were just basic Google search, that was just a pay to play. You're paying for ads and you're competing with the next guy that's paying $1,000 a week, and now you have to start paying $1,500 a week, and you're bidding on keywords, and you have ads up, and you have YouTube videos up, and you're kind of competing pretty equally against your competitors, right? AI has changed that so much because they're scraping stuff off the internet that is coming from anyone and everyone. So we've been in business for 11 years. Yeah. Some companies have started last year. Yeah. Doesn't mean they're a bad company, but how do you have decades of proven concepts, or how can you make specific claims? For example, a lot of people just, they'll say 100% money back guarantee or your money back, or we have escrow, or they're saying these little gimmicky things that is triggering to AI. And then now potential customers are looking for that and they're falling for that. And you have to be really careful when somebody is trying to guarantee specific things just to be able to get that intake form or get someone to call them. Yeah. How can you just guarantee something when you've only been doing it for a certain amount of time? Exactly. So AI has been a struggle to try to keep up with, knowing that there's just specific things that people are looking for. And we know it now because people will call us or they will send us an AI email. They will ask AI 20 questions, and they will go to our website, fill out a form, and just send us an email. And you can see it's just all AI questions. Do you have escrow? Do you get money back guarantee? How long does it take? Can you send me bar license? Can you give me all these guaranteed solutions? And it's like, well, wait a minute. We don't even know what your situation is. We don't know what timeshare you own. We don't know why you want out of it. We don't know what has happened. We have no idea. So I guess I'll just kind of pivot over to, if you're looking to get out of a timeshare, you really got to do your research. You got to do your homework. There is a lot of noise on the internet about anything. But in this industry, we just call them flyby companies, a lot of gimmicks. A lot of people have operated, shut down their business, started with a new name. They put fake reviews up. They do all types of things to gather, leads in business. And so you really have to be careful now, because you don't know what's real and what's not. Same thing when you're looking on Instagram and you're just looking through pictures. Half of the stuff you're looking at now is AI, whether it's a person or whether it's just a subject that is speaking to you. You don't know what's real and what's not. And so now it's challenging, because it makes it easier for people to just enter any industry, copy and paste everything from your website and all the content that you do, put it out there, let AI scrape it, give answers, and give, kind of referrals to your business, when you really have no concept and you have no proven experience of how it works. And so I think for that reason, it's been difficult, because with all that noise, people are even more lost now. 10 years ago, there was 5 or 6 companies that did what we did. Wasn't a ton of noise, wasn't a lot of up and down. The resorts were also a lot easier to deal with 10 or 11 years ago.
I can imagine, because there's very few of you to deal with. So now they're dealing with the
things have changed.
Inundated with all of the noise as well.
And in the resort's defense, I understand that, because now you have companies that are just looking for opportunities to make money, have no idea maybe what they're doing, have no experience, or they don't have attorneys or real estate, agents working with them, brokers, whatever it is. And now people are getting scammed into some of these companies. Probably 10, 15% of our clientele is somebody that has already hired a different company first, and then that company closed their doors. Or that company just couldn't get them out, or gave them all these false promises. Hey, we'll give you guarantees. We'll give you this. Anybody can give you 100% money back guarantee and then shut their doors tomorrow, and it's no good, right? There's also a lot of clauses they put in there of money back guarantees. So for those reasons, AI has been really tricky. Because now it's hard to know what's real and what's not. So now we're having to compete with that, and it's making the whole consultation cycle go a lot longer, because these people are even more unsure because of all the stuff that they're reading. They don't know what to do, who to trust, what route to go. And again, I'm not saying all companies are bad. There's plenty of companies that can probably assist you. My recommendation is, when you're searching to get out of a timeshare contract or a timeshare lawyer, whatever it is, just really do a deep dive in your homework. Don't look at the first AI thing and then make that call. Really look at the longevity of that company. How long have they been in the business? Are they accredited with the Better Business Bureau? Do you see 50 brand new reviews all in the first 60 days and they just started a business? There's things to look at that really jump out at you. I think the problem is some people don't do that, that's the very challenging part with AI right now. So we're trying to work through that, and we're trying to give our clientele, just kind of the most straightforward, best consultation we can, and trying to overcome a lot of that noise while doing that. So it's becoming tougher for us and more confusing for them in the actual client's defense. Because if I was a client or a potential client, I would probably feel the same way trying to go through that stuff.
I imagine it's I can kind of now reflect on this as far as like from your guys' perspective, how difficult it may be. Just to, at first you're being, there's like the beginning aspect is rough because you're a fairly new business, but now with the inundated of the frequency of like noise going in, it's like, yeah, well, it's harder even with experience because now we have to fight all the bots that look semi-professional or at least come close. And yeah, that's definitely the hard thing from a standpoint of being in the business for as long as you guys have to.
Yeah.
So I will now just kind of concluding our conversation and just, I love getting a little bit personal with the ownership as far as like, your life here in Arizona. I want to focus on that and just kind of like, what have you learned most from doing business in this region for so long? And what's your favorite takeaway from living here?
Man, great question. So Arizona in general, I love it. I came here in 2013. I was supposed to only be here for a couple of weeks. Okay, so like I said, we were kind of traveling. I was technically working for a company at the time.
Okay.
I was always an independent contractor, so I wasn't a W-2 employee, but I was working for a company.
Got it.
There was an opportunity to come to Scottsdale or to New York. And at the time, I was back in Columbus in my actual hometown living. So long story short, I came out here for a couple of weeks. 2 weeks turned into 4 weeks. 4 weeks turned into 8 weeks. Awesome. Next thing you know it, I got a friend of mine watching my dogs back in, Ohio. They ended up making me offer, and so I moved here. I officially moved here February of 2014. Shipped all my stuff.
Nice.
Got my car out here, sold my house in Ohio, and I came out here full time. What's kind of struck me was it was a combination of California, Las Vegas, and I mean this in all the right ways.
Yeah.
Obviously weather is amazing. Sure, you have a couple hot months, but right now it's November. It's 70, 80 degrees.
We're the belle of the ball.
Beautiful.
Right now.
I love it. I mean, absolutely love it. We are a 45-minute flight to San Diego, which is where my family and I go for vacation all the time.
Oh, awesome.
So I, being kind of located here, I absolutely love the weather. I love the people here. I love just hate to use the word, the vibe in general. I love all of it.
Yeah,
I love all of the new builds that are coming up in the area. I live in Arcadia Lights. So my family and I can ride our bikes to all the little restaurants and coffee shops and things of that nature. My wife and I absolutely love that. I have 2 little kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, 2 daughters. And so being able to be outside 80% of the time and have the outside activities and the hiking and all that stuff is just absolutely amazing. I just love it. So
it's the best.
We were torn between living here and living in Southern California because I spent a lot of time out there.
Yeah.
When I did move here in 2014, I did meet my now wife. She was out here for work. And so we just made the decision to just stay here at this point in time.
Nice.
And so, I absolutely love the region. I love the people here. We built a really good community. Great neighborhood. Only thing we're missing is our family. Our family's spread out, Ohio, Tennessee, Florida, Idaho. They're all over the place. So we don't have family here, which is tough, having little kids.
Yeah, especially.
More so just because they can, they're not with their cousins and their grandparents and, aunts and uncles, things like that, which is something I had growing up. Like whole family was in Cleveland and Columbus. So 2-hour drive, I got to see everybody. So that is something that my kids miss a little bit, but luckily we have a really good community, a really good school that she's in.
Great.
Which has got us to a point where never going to replace family, but it definitely helps a little bit by not having the family here. So
yeah, it's a challenge. I can definitely feel and empathize for your little ones. It's just like, it's always good to have that family, that's like close bond, and it's just a lot of fun. I really do appreciate you giving us all the details about the business, about yourself, because again, when I first started this podcast, it was really to demonstrate that conversational style. Just like, I'm as a consumer of like, I'm trusting more because I'm having this conversation with you and opening up about, the things in my life, and you just sharing just as much as you have really does give an opportunity for the listener to be like, hey, I want to do business with Jeremy. And I really hope that, someone out there listening to this will be inspired, or at least have a resource to go to. And the vital question of like, what do I do now with this timeshare that I don't want or need to get rid of, or whatever it is. I need a solution. And I hope one day this podcast will be their answer, and they listen and like, hey, I like this person. I like who you are and what you represent. And so I'm gonna go with you.
Sure. Yeah. And again, that's really our goal at the end of the day is if you're having an issue with the timeshare, you just reach out to us. You go to our website, vacationownershipconsultants.com. There is an eligibility form. You fill out a few bits of information, you submit it. You can call us directly, 480-372-3661. I guess I'll say the number. Obviously, it's all over our website, so you can call us. The idea is get a free consultation. That's all it is at the end of the day, is you give us a call, you tell us what your situation is, and then from there, we can give you what your options are. And so that's kind of where you start is just reach out. We give you the consultation. Understand how it works, understand what kind of, just the whole process entails. Then you can make an educated decision. It's not something you have to make a decision in 90 minutes. It's a free consultation for a reason. You're on a phone or a Zoom call. It's very easy to hang up on me. Hey, I don't like this guy. Or, hey, I don't want to do business right now. More importantly, we give you the opportunity to do your research.
For sure.
Check us out. Go online, you can look at all the different, review boards, BBB and Yelp and Trustpilot and Facebook and all these different areas you can look at. Most people do that now before they call us, which is nice.
That's really nice.
Because then they feel a little more comfortable.
Yep.
Most people have a wall up just in general in the industry because they already have a bad taste in their mouth. A lot of times they already feel misled or feel a certain way about the timeshare they purchased in the first place. So they're already nervous, they're already scared. So it's good to do the research first, but know if you call us, we're giving you a free consultation. We space it out for an hour. It only takes that long based on how many questions you have.
Great.
Then from there, we give you the information. You make an educated decision if our company's for you or not. So that's the best way to do it. Don't feel pressured. And you can kind of take your time with making decisions now.
Perfect. Well, I really do appreciate your time. Before we go, and you were already on the timeline of it, you were talking about the phone number. I kick it off to you to let everyone know where they can find you online, all the resources like the phone number, the address, or the social media handles. The floor is yours.
Sure. Yeah. So our website, vacationownershipconsultants.com. Very long website. I get it. We've always looked at ourselves as consultants. So it's not just a trigger of a lot of people say this is the exit industry or a timeshare cancellation. It's not always that case. Some people want to rent their week. Some people, there's all different things. So we'd like to consider ourselves consultants, but that is our website. On the website has so much information. We have dropped over, I think, 350 or so blogs. And the blogs is just explaining of what is going on in the industry. So it's good to read some of those blogs. Obviously, you call us. We're in the office 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Monday through Friday. 480-372-3661. Those are the best ways to get in contact with us. Our emails are on there. Our phone number is on there. So some people like to email. You can also text that phone number that I just mentioned.
Very cool.
We know nowadays people do like to communicate through text.
Great.
So you're more than welcome to text us. We will communicate that way as well.
Perfect.
One thing I would like to say is we do not solicit. If somebody is soliciting to you, it doesn't mean, again, they're a bad company, but I would really do your research. How do they get your information? How do they know you own a timeshare? Why are they calling you? We like to speak to people that are searching for a solution. We're there to help you. So those are the best ways to find us. And then again, from there, we have a few different girls that will take down your information and schedule the free consultation. So, we typically have you send us, a document or two to kind of show us the ownership that you have. All ownerships are different. There's deeds, there's points, there's multiple contracts. Some people own in Mexico or the Caribbean. They do not sell deeds down there. They sell something that's called an RTU, which is just a right to use.
Oh, wow.
And usually those memberships expire at a certain time. So a lot of times you don't even need our assistance. Those memberships can expire. However, sometimes the memberships are 50 years or 99 years. So you may still need assistance. But, anyway, yeah, I guess at the end of the day is just give us a call, get the information, and that'll allow you to, be able to kind of make a good decision from there.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time for being on the show and giving us, this was a lot of informative, because I, again, stand as the listener, the kind of the conduit for the listener. And it's really intriguing from the standpoint of like how you got here, your evolution into what you guys are doing today, and then also just kind of what there might be in the future. It's a nice thought to think that there's nice people out there like yourself that just care enough to want to help and want to make sure that that people are comfortable in the decisions and choices that they make. So
sure, yeah.
We appreciate that. Before we go, you can listen to our podcast at findingarizonapodcast.com. Social media wise, Finding Arizona Podcast under everything. And last but not least, we end every conversation with a kiss, hug, and belly rubs to our four-legged friends. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.